Second half kicking off week 3 in arena football action. 200 passing yards for Shane Stafford and the Grand Rapids Rampage offense. We have a jam-packed house once again in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us live on Twitch. It is a fumble! And it's recovered by the Avengers. My goodness, that would have just been devastating for the Avengers to start off like that and to lose the football. So, Dan the Legend joining us in the chat. We also got SK Money. We got Parker the Hurricane as well joining us. And we're going to see what happens in the second half. Michael Bishop. He's had a hard time. He's looking like the Tampa Bay Storm quarterback last week. Only 14 points. In the beginning, it was competitive, but here down the stretch, turnovers and turnover on downs has been a disaster for the LA Avengers. So Michael Bishop rolling out. How about that play by Michael Bishop? Scrambling out of the pocket, avoiding the sack, and Darren Shirani, I can't say it. Darren Shiarini, the hype man for the Colorado Buffaloes. Darren Shiarini gets the reception, and the Avengers feeling like they might be right back in this one. Extra point by Mark Lewis. That famous number 7. It used to be Tony Graziani back in the day. Now under control of Mark Lewis. Who did Graziani get drafted by in our draft here? I don't even remember. That one hits off the netting. Grosh to the outside. And gets decked at the 20. (42-21). A much-needed touchdown for Michael Bishop and the LA Avengers to stay within this ball game here. Stafford's going to pitch it out to Fleming, our #1 overall draft pick.
Fleming on the run. No gain on the play. 2nd and 10.
He had a big game in week 2 against the Tampa Bay Storm. A number of interceptions, a pick 6. We got TV Sports mascot Luna the Cat here joining us for this game between the Rhinos and the Avengers, and Stafford to Grosh, and just gets driven way back. My God. It was Sean McNamara with that grab. The new team coming up in arena football this year, the Iowa Rampage. Their logo looks pretty cool. I really like it. See, I'm torn because growing up, I've kind of gone through my arena football history. Maybe while I can go through it again here. I've done it on a couple different streams, but Grosh, unbelievable performance there. We got some cussing out there. Damian Grosh, the grocery store. So I grew up in Florida, so I was a Tampa Bay Storm fan because of their success. It's pretty rare for me actually to be cheering for the Tampa Bay teams, because I don't really cheer for a lot of Tampa Bay teams outside of the Rays. Marshall, touchdown! So I was a Storm fan, and then my dad lived in Illinois. He lived in McHenry, Illinois, about an hour outside of Chicago. So, as I mentioned in the last episode, the one and only pro playoff game that I've ever been to was the LA Avengers and the Chicago Rush. So I kind of became a Chicago Rush fan after that, and it was a Rush and Storm. Like, I usually have 2 favorite teams when it's a big enough league, one on each side. So the Storm were in the National, the Rush were in the American. It worked out. Then the Chicago Rush went away. They ended up moving to Rockford, and they just went straight out of business. They turned their color scheme red and blue, and I started cheering for the LA Kiss after that with the Tampa Bay Storm, because Bob McMillan and a lot of the Chicago coaches and players went over to the LA Kiss. I thought their uniforms were cool, so then I was with the Storm and the Kiss. Then the Kiss went out of business, so then it was just the Storm, and arena football teams became less and less. Michael Bishop to Porter, and Porter's going to be in the end zone. Eventually, the Storm went away, so I had to pick a new team again, and I ended up picking the Albany Empire. The Albany Empire won an Arena Bowl. It was one of the few times I got to see an Arena Bowl victory. The other time was in 2003 with the Tampa Bay Storm, so I was very excited for that. And then, of course, Arena Football went out of business. The Albany Empire would go on to the NAL, and then Antonio Brown would buy the team and end up running the team out of business. So that's a terrible situation. They probably would have been back in Arena Football if not for Antonio Brown, but instead it's going to be the Albany Firebirds. So then Arena Football went out of business. I jumped to the IFL, and I was originally going to be a fan of the Quad City Steamwheelers. I always liked them from AF2. I like their logo. I like their name. They played one game, and then COVID happened, and they canceled the season. Then they came back, and the Quad City Steamwheelers sat out for a year. So I was like, well, I got to find another team then. So my Quad City fandom became really short-lived at that point. So Shane Stafford Fleming open again. Turns upfield. So at that point, I was going to go with the Nebraska Danger because I liked their colors. I thought their name was really cool. They also didn't come back after COVID. They just folded. They were done. So then I ended up settling on the Iowa Barnstormers, former Arena Football team. I like their helmets. Kurt Warner, an Arizona Cardinal. So I was like, you know, it all just makes sense. I like the team. They had just won an IFL championship a couple of seasons before that. So I've been a fan as another touchdown for the Grand Rapids Rampage. I've been a fan of the Iowa Barnstormers the last couple of seasons. Even though I wasn't a fan of theirs growing up in Arena Football, I later became a fan of theirs. And now with Arena Football coming back, of all the teams, I was going to jump in and be a Chicago Rush fan again. Like, that's my team. The Rush are back. Well, the announcement came and went, and the Chicago Rush made the announcement that we're not quite ready for Arena Football. We're going to sit out for 1 year. So now I'm sitting here like, well, here I am again. This is just like Quad Cities. So I don't want to turn my back on the Rush. But Arena Football, I don't know if they'll quite have... maybe eventually they'll be my number 2 team. But I think I might end up going with the Louisiana Voodoo, because I've always liked the name. I wish they were still purple and red. I kind of hate that they changed the colors, because now they look just like the Iowa Barnstormers. They're going to be black and gold if their uniforms actually match what they revealed in their press conference. But I'm leaning towards going with the Voodoo in the new season here. I do really like the Washington Wolfpack logo. That thing is cool. People say it looks like a furry. All right, let's get back into this. So that's my history of Arena Football teams. The Storm, the Rush, the Kiss, the Empire, and the Barnstormers. And now the Louisiana Voodoo of my history of indoor football and Arena Football League teams. 56-28, and Fleming, Corey Fleming. You're seeing, that's exactly why. Thank you very much, Parker. Parker, you're the man. Oh, my goodness. 56-28, your score. Pretty big lead here for the Grand Rapids Rampage. Michael Bishop just hasn't really wanted to take any shots downfield. There's our Colorado hype man making the grab. You definitely saw a lot of that from John Dutton in the first game, and they're going to go on and take the field goal. I don't know if they'll get the snap off before the end of the third quarter. So it's another dominating performance in the middle of this 3-game homestand for the Grand Rapids Rampage. Not since Clint Dazell was here that the Rampage have been having this kind of excitement on offense. Didn't Michael Thomas play for the Rampage as well? I think he did. It was a bit of a homecoming for him, if I'm remembering right. That's going to be no good. Brought back by Grosh. You guys are tuning in just like Parker, Dan the Man, SK Money. Don't forget all the different ways you can support the channel. Follow along live with us on Twitch. Twitch.tv/TBSports27. Hit that follow button. Your name will flash right across the screen. You can live chat with us, and when the video gets uploaded on YouTube, you'll see all your chat down on the screen. I think it's pretty fun, pretty interactive. YouTube, Twitter, Patreon, Streamlabs, and Ko-Fi if you want to help support the channel, like Parker and Dan is doing. Those are the different places where you guys can get that done. Ko-Fi, and it's a good place to get some coffee if you guys are able to support over there. Fleming down to the 20. But we give you guys a lot of bonus content, and a big shout out to our Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much. We got another Ultra Fan stream coming up pretty soon. It's going to be K Duckman's next Ultra Fan stream. So we appreciate that. We even had Mega Fans and Ultra Fans. We've been at that group for a little while now. But it's a good group. We appreciate all of you guys. Shane Stafford. Marshall is open. Touchdown. Rampage. Willis Marshall in the Rampage. Another 60-point game. They got it done week 1 against the Destroyers of Columbus. And a lot of hype surrounding this game. 2-0 versus 2-0, but again, for those of you tuning in live, I know SK Money is new to Arena Football, and Parker, you know, I'm happy for it being a blowout because that means I got a good team, but I hate that you guys aren't getting to see an exciting game here. Definitely week 1, if you get a chance to check that one out. It is up right now on our Patreon page. That was an exciting game that went into overtime. It had a pretty exciting ending. But I can't imagine we'll remain dominant like this all year long. At some point, something's got to give. Damian Harrell. I'm disappointed. Thank you, Dan. Disappointed in Damian Harrell. Only 4 catches for 30 yards. Normally a dominant face of this league. Just getting roughed up by this defense. And, you know, we had J-Mac in the last stream who jumped in and said, fix your defense, fix the defense. Well, they gave up 63 points in week 1. How about what they did to the Tampa Bay Storm and then the undefeated LA Avengers, just 28 points on the board. Damian Harrell able to come down with that pass as it bobbled around. It got into his hands. I mean, good numbers for Michael Bishop, but 28 points, not going to get it done in the Arena Football League. And as soon as I say that, Chris Angel steps in front of a pass and picks that one off. Pass intended, of course, for Darren Chiarini. And we might get a 70 on the board here. Points per game. A pat on the back to the defensive coordinator here. And Shane Stafford lighting up the field. Stafford looking for a 70, and he's got it. Touchdown. Of course, you can check out another video that's up right now on our Patreon page that you can check out. Is our conclusion to Season 3 of Arena Football. And this Grand Rapids Rampage team was in the American Conference Championship. They were there. They came up just short against the San Jose SaberCats. On the other side, it was the Georgia Force and the New Orleans Voodoo. And it was the Force that would go on to battle the SaberCats in the Arena Bowl. So oh, what a shot. Todd Law. Oh, he's hurt. Yeah, Todd Law is down. Boy, oh boy. He got laid out by Ahmad Hawkins. He's just trying to catch his breath right now. What a hit. Holy smokes. SK Money, you believe we got 70 on the board right now. I can't believe we had these 2 blowouts. Michael Bishop just dumps that one off to Damian Harrell. No, yeah, not Ty Law. Not Ty Law. He fought the law and he lost that time. Todd Law. Bruce Sternum. I thought he was going to be okay. He just seemed like he was kind of huffing and puffing, trying to catch that breath from being knocked around. Michael Bishop drilled. Incomplete. 3rd down and 8 for the LA Avengers. It has been a complete struggle for them here in this one. Bishop just, I mean, screen pass. He's not even really trying. Parker should donate 30 Patreon memberships. Wow, do you hear that, Parker? What's it? Donate 30 Patreon memberships. Parker shut that down real quick. Here comes a field goal, a deep field goal, and it's going to fall short. What about you, SK Money? What, you want to get on the donate train? Streamlabs and Ko-Fi. Maybe you can gift a Patreon membership to a lucky fan, SK Money. You're SK Money, right? It's right in your name. So here's where it gets kind of awkward in arena football. You don't want to run up the score on a team that's, you know, kind of big on, you know, U.S. sports. But you have to move the ball because the clock's going to stop if you don't. And that's going to be 77. You have to move the ball because the clock stops if you get tackled behind the line of scrimmage. We'll see if there's going to be any bad blood next season or if we see the LA Avengers in the playoffs. But you got to keep moving the ball. There's 2 minutes left. And what can you do when the clock stops if you don't get forward progress? SK wants 100. You sound like... oh my god, I can't even say it. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It's a big thing for American sports, and I'll just say that. I have a lot of friends from Japan, obviously, from my fiance, and that is not a thing in Japan. When the Broncos and the Dolphins had their game where the Dolphins scored 70 points and they didn't score the field goal to go up by 73, a lot of my friends in Japan were shocked that they didn't go for the record, and they considered it bad sportsmanship that the Dolphins didn't go for the record because I suppose in Japan it's like a, you know, it's a, you have that fighting spirit, you fight to the end, and you're showing disrespect to your opponent if you don't play with every ounce of your energy. Whereas in the NFL, or excuse me, in America, in the U.S., it's the exact opposite. If you're up on an opponent and you run up the score, it's bad blood. They start throwing fists. It's not good. But in Japan, apparently, it's the exact opposite. You play with every ounce of energy right till the end, and you don't. It's considered disrespectful to your opponent if you don't play hard to the end. Well, I mean, they're not making it easy on us. They're just fumbling around the ball here. What a terrible performance by a 2-0 team. Yes, yeah, New Japan as well. That's, I mean, fighting spirit unleashed, right? I mean, we can try. Oh, I honest to God tried to run the ball, and I accidentally hit the button to go down. Well, we're going to try to not run up the score here, but 77-28 on the LA Avengers. And they knocked the ball away from Shane Stafford. Stafford stays on his feet somehow, and eventually, my God, he eventually gets brought down by our Colorado hype man. So this will tick down to the 1-minute warning. 100's almost impossible to get. Because we'd have to get like 3 more touchdowns in a minute. I don't think it's gonna happen, SK. I hate to say it. Oh, do they stop us behind the line? That would stop the clock. All right, we'll take one shot. Shane Stafford, player of the game. I mean, he was lights out. Unreal. We're taking one shot, and then we'll go for a field goal. We can't run it up on them. They're going to be mad. Stafford. They got double coverage down there. And it's incomplete. So that will stop the clock. We'll take the field goal. We would break 80 if we hit the field goal here. Schmitty. New York beat Cara. Yes, that game, SK Money. Look at you looking up your arena football history. That game is up on the Arena Fan YouTube page if you want to see it. I actually watched the entire thing. Aaron Garcia threw like 10 touchdown passes. Oh, field goal no good. So we're not going to break the 80-point mark. Look up SK Money and AF2, which was the kind of like training grounds for arena football. There was a game, the Quad City Steamwheelers, in the early years of the AF2 won a game 103-0. One of the rare shutouts in indoor football. I'll have to send you a link to that Carolina-New York game because I have a copy of it on YouTube. Well, it's not my copy, but I can send you a link to that. Michael Bishop finally tossing the ball down the field. Yeah, the Cincinnati Rockers, right? The green and yellow. There's also a Cincinnati Jungle Cats team in AF2, I believe. Chiarini down the stretch here, making his presence known. And the Avengers going to go hurry up offense. I know my indoor football history. No, that's the one thing. Obscure football leagues and a touchdown for the LA Avengers. Damian Porter. Obscure football leagues, XFL, arena football, slam ball, extreme dodgeball. That's where I shine. I don't know much. I mean, I know basketball stuff, but basketball history, scoring leader on I don't got it. But you want me to throw out a random name for an obscure league? I got you. 77-30. Nice. I like the Jungle Cats helmet. The Jungle Cats helmet is sweet. With the me and Parker are probably two of the only people in the world that know the Cincinnati Jungle Cats or even know what their uniforms look like. It kind of looks like what the Bengals wear now with the all black and white, but the helmet had Bengal tiger eyes up front and stripes up the top. Do yourself a favor, those of you in Twitch land and YouTube land, look up Cincinnati Jungle Cats. Look up the uniforms. 77-35, a dominant performance here for the Grand Rapids Rampage. And we're going to look at the score. Shane Stafford, you see that SK Money? 11 touchdown passes in this game, throwing for 386 yards. Whew. I'm going to check out Retro Bowl right after this stream is over. I'm going to check out Retro Bowl. But we have our own obscure league. That's another thing you can look at Patreon. The original league, the SFL, which turned into the RFL as part of All Pro Football 2K8, and now the RXFL that we've been doing for a combined total of like 20 seasons. But in the Madden 20 era, we're getting ready for Season 2. Yeah, so simulate the rest of this week here, and we'll look at the scores, we'll look at the standings. Look at this. Week 4. The SaberCats, who are the defending Arena Bowl champions, but just 1 and 2. Scores from around the league. Boy, the Tampa Bay Storm. Another performance of 20 points. If you look at their schedule, they're just not good. 55-23, Georgia Force get the win right there. There you see the Destroyers finally get in the win column, 44-41, defeating the undefeated Dallas Desperados. That's a flashback to a conference championship that the Desperados would like to forget from a number of years ago. The Predators moved to 3-0 with their dominant victory over the Philadelphia Soul. Utah Blaze coming up with the win over the Dragons in the firefight between the Blaze and the Dragons. The New Orleans Voodoo in the win column, getting the tight victory over the Austin Wranglers. 77-35, your Grand Rapids Rampage. The Las Vegas Gladiators, 41-32 win. The first loss of the year for the Colorado Crush. The first loss of the year, rather, for the Colorado Crush. The Cats at 3-0 with the victory over the Chicago Rush. We play them a couple of times this season, so they might be the team to beat. And that's a classic arena football rivalry. They've played each other in a number of arena bowls. And that's one thing that I'm actually kind of sad about, that in this game and in arena football in general, I liked when they didn't have divisions, because then you got arena bowls all the time, like the Tampa Bay Storm and the Orlando Predators, and you got a bunch of arena bowls like the Arizona Rattlers and the San Jose SaberCats that were classic arena football matches. When arena football went to divisions, and this game has divisions and conferences, then you can get conference title games between the SaberCats and the Rattlers, which we later got, but you don't get them playing in arena bowls anymore. So I wish this game didn't have divisions for that very sake, but they do. There you can see the team schedule. Week 1, it was a tight one with the Destroyers, but we edged out the win in overtime. But since then, it has been pretty dominant for the Grand Rapids Rampage. SaberCats up next, then we hit the road, which could be a tough one. It could be a possible battle of 4-0 teams as we take on the Nashville Cats. Let's look at the Storm real quick, because they have just been, look at those 24, 27, 23 points. Crazy. What about the LA Avengers? I mean, that was just normally pretty good on defense, but giving up the 77-point. Quick look at the standings real quick here. The Cats and the Rampage sitting at 3-0 in the American Conference. On the national side, the Predators and the Desperados, while everyone else down below. You can see the Crush, the Rampage, and the Cats are still all competitive here in the American Central. The division winner goes to the postseason, plus a wild card team, 2 wild card teams from either side. So a quick look at where everyone is standing right now, and the Predators is far and away above. So that's going to do it here today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, SK Money. Thank you, Parker. We appreciate it. Tomorrow, as the time that we are streaming this, is Wednesday. I don't know if I'm going to be on tomorrow because I actually got some out in the world plans to do, holiday plans coming up. It is at the time that we're streaming this, holiday time. So don't know if I'll get on tomorrow, but if I don't, Thursday, I would say be on the lookout for maybe, I think a little NFL 2K5, trying to maybe wrap up that season, or maybe SK Money will come in with a little bit of a request. I got to look at SK Money. Thanks for the memories. Come on, this guy and Parker. So be on the lookout for that. Thursday, I might pop in. I don't know. There's a pasta party going on at work, so I might pop in, get some pasta, and then come back and stream on Thursday. Be on the lookout, though. ECW Episode 2, where we crown the ECW champion, plus another episode of the XHL coming up. And, yeah, it's going to be a lot of good stuff. So keep the support up. Thank you guys so much. TV Sports 27, Parker, SK Money, Dan the Man, everyone that joined us. Follow along, subscribe, Patreon, Streamlabs, Ko-Fi, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care, everyone.